Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday Wellbeing of the 1st of February, 2023. Are we going to do pinches and punches and white rabbits and all that? So today's topic, yes, well, it's this morning right now when we're recording it, but you may be watching it another time. So whichever time of day, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and whichever part of the world you're in as well, welcome. We're talking about immunity and protection and things like that, and keeping ourselves well in the face of certain things trying to get into us. And I just want to have a quick word before we start the different sections about how we don't really have much, as you know, sort of Western medicine has separated things, hasn't it, into various different sections and departments and specialisms. We don't really have a separate immune system. This is now becoming obvious with the involvement of the digestive system. And a friend of mine, the lovely Magda Taylor, pointed out in a recent article in her wonderful magazine, The Informed Parent, that she prefers to call it a health system. So with that in mind, I'm going to hand over to the wonderful Maureen, and she's going to give us a good way to start the whole day off.
Good morning. Yes, a little quickie from me, which is always good on a Wednesday morning. So our immunity, like June says, we are this one big system. So let's think of ourselves in my metaphorical way as the factory. And we want the factory to be running in the most beautiful way, so that if we imagine we've got our own little armies that are preparing and happy to fight off any unwanted advances from whether it's the flu kingdom or wherever. So we're talking about mind, body, muscles, lungs, the whole business. So one of the things that's really useful to have helping us with clarity is a fresh mind and body. So what we can simply do to start the morning off, because it's early for some of us, just give a little bit of a stretch. Oh, stretch high. Oh, doesn't that feel good? Make yourself taller. Imagine that there is a string going through the top of your head and that's just pulling up the spine to make you taller. And then just wave your arms from side to side and just bring them down. Oh, and now just shake everything. Just let everything, fingers and toes shaking, just let it go. Just breathe and just enjoy and just take a deep breath in and just breathe out. Take a big deep breath in and breathe. Now on Instagram, I came across this tiny little technique, and I've kind of tested it and it works, which is wonderful. One of the things we want clarity, we want breathing. And as we're going to be learning from these wonderful people, these wonderful, wise and general people today, we want to keep the whole thing flowing. Oxygen to that old brain thing is really useful. Now, in your hand, underneath the thumb, or that fleshy bit, if you dig in, well, first of all, take a deep breath. Nice and full, and kind of like have a measurement of what that felt like. Now, if you dig into here and dig around, you'll find a sore spot. When you find that sore spot, just press into it. And now keep pressing in, and now take a big deep breath. And breathe out. Did you notice that the lung capacity was larger? Take another deep breath in and breathe out. I found it increased my lung capacity. Now, having been diagnosed with mild asthma, anytime I'm needing, that could be a really useful thing to do to get my breathing back to normal. So thank you. That's my quickie for this morning, just to wake us up, get the brain going, and pass on to the wise sharer who's going to be next.
Well, we never actually formulated who was going to go next. We went, yes, I'll go first. And then, So Robyn, would you like to go next? Yeah. Helen, okay, this is it. This is the lottery of Wednesday Wellbeing. Let's go, Helen.
Oh, okay. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. May your world be wonderful. And if your world isn't wonderful, then change your mindset and make it so. Immunity. Immunity, a bit, my apologies. When Karen, one of the things that Karen does, and I do it myself, is to look at what the word means. And it's quite interesting. I do believe, I didn't do a deep enough research on this, because immunity is to be immune. And the dictionaries are kind of really pushing immune as, you know, you're immune if you've taken a vaccine, which I found quite interesting. So I didn't give this particular word enough time or realize that the meanings of things will have changed. So when you're looking at what they mean, therefore I'm going back to my own understanding of what immunity is, and immunity is to be immune. And my understanding of it being immune is, it's almost like your defense. You have no defense against something. It's related to defense. I'm immune to your charm. You know, I have no defenses to your charm. I'm immune. You know, they talk of legal immunity as well. So it's immunity, and the word that came to mind was amnesty. So there's this idea of immunity, amnesty, a space or a place or a thing that where you are no longer accountable, you have no defenses against this, whatever it is that's coming towards you, there's no defense for it. So you can be given legal immunity, which means that you're not going to be held accountable. And as Maureen and June have highlighted, immunity is not just the physical body, and that's, I suppose, why I'm here talking to you this morning, and I hope that you're okay, because it's you know, like I said, when about your if your world's not wonderful, then change your mindset. So all is energy, frequency, vibration, and there's lots of words for me that I think are the same or have a very similar vibration, although I'm aware of word, sound and power. So and part of the indoctrinations that we've received is that I don't think we actually know what we're saying anymore, because they keep changing the meaning of words. And my brief soiree into trying to find out what immunity meant has very much cement. So in terms of I'm going to work on the premise, I believe that's a word that I could use properly here, that immunity is around that defense, and because we're here on Wellbeing Wednesday, it's to do with us, our immunity. We're not immune to what goes on outside the world, in the outside world, in terms of what we're fed through the media, through TV, through our telephones. Remember that they're constantly listening. If we all sit talking now about boats and yachts, all of our phones will start to kind of give us things around boats, yachts, varnish for yachts, whatever it is, because it's constantly listening. So we're constantly being surveilled, which means that we're constantly being fed the things that they think that we want, and the things that, so on that level, just to be, how is your immunity on of what you're receiving? How defended are you? And I don't really like going into that defense attack kind of vibration, that I am, but for the purpose of what I'm doing now, it's how fortified, how resilient are you to that level? You know, how immune are you to what is being fed to you via your media, via what you're taking in, what you're reading, what you're listening to, what you're seeing? How are you helping your immune system? So it's not just a physical one. How are you actually helping that to remain resilient and fortified and ready and able, because things get in. So that's on, sorry, that's on that level. and then physically, I think that's one of the things that we first think of when we think of immunity, is our physical bodies, our immune systems. And if the last 3 years haven't told us anything or haven't shown us anything, it's that thereafter that there are elements at play right now. And I do believe that we're in a spiritual engagement which is being experienced on the physical realm. So on a physical level, how immune are you? How is your immunity? And this again goes across the frequencies that they're putting out. Excuse me. Remember that, even music is supposed to be on 432 hertz. They've changed that so that music doesn't resonate with us in the same way. Music really does have power and things like that. So physically, when we're listening to music, the frequencies that we're taking in, depending on where we're getting our music from, is whether it will aid or hinder us. So those frequency vibrations that are coming into our physical, this is one of the reasons that I am so passionate about earthing, grounding yourself, getting your feet in the ground. I'm laughing because I know someone that's like, how long have I got to stand here? And I'd really encourage you to walk around, to move around when you're on the earth barefoot. But this helps with those kind of energetic, the 5G frequencies, 4G frequencies, all of the electrical devices. There's frequencies that I don't even know about. And I'm not saying that I know about everything anyway, but I'm confident that there's stuff coming at me because I have a constant tone in my ears. I have fluctuating tones in my ears. Some would call it tinnitus. I don't, because it doesn't bother me. It's not that bothered. But if I'm in silence, I can really hear some frequencies coming in. And this is the importance, again, of keeping our physical body and our mental and our spiritual healthy by putting our feet on the earth. And then we are actually allowing those frequencies to flow through. And Mama Earth is just the most amazing. She's wonderful. She just receives them, and then she can alchemize them and do what she needs to do with them in order for them not to be detrimental to us. But it's very important because we live, if there's a one of my favorite documentaries, docu-movies, whatever they're called now, is the Earthing movie. You can find it free on YouTube. And it tells us that one of the worst inventions we ever had was the rubber sole, because we literally insulated ourselves against the earth and we stopped ourselves connecting. So we're no longer allowing those frequencies, those energies, those vibrations that are adverse to us to pass through. And we really need to do that. So even if you decide to go outside, and I know that, like, for me, it's wet and cold here, but sometimes wrap up well, which sounds daft when you're going to put your feet on the cold earth, but go and have a cup of coffee if you're thinking about what to do, if you don't really want to walk out in it, and just put your feet on the earth. If you don't want to do that, go, and I know we've got a lovely tree hugger here, go and just put your hands on the tree, something that is actually earthed, something that's connected directly to the earth. But I would encourage you to put your feet on the earth and allow that, and that will help your immune system. It will help you to release any charges that are not beneficial to you and that your body doesn't need. So there's the earthing, that's that kind of. Then obviously eating, eat well, eat real food. They're attacking us. Gosh, I can't believe I'm using all of this terminology. It's around defense and but anyway, we're being compromised in our food. The EU have just said that they don't have to let us know that they've got crickets and mites and different kinds of insects in our food that is being ground up and put into our flour and our biscuits and all sorts of different places. So be careful about what's going in. They no longer have to tell you. There's no regulation anymore around GMO food. So real food, if you can grow it yourself, grow it yourself. If you know people that are growing, work with them and grow and eat good, nutritious food, because it's food-like substances at this point that are in supermarkets. Buy organic, although in a supermarket, I'm still not sure about that, whether it's, once I saw seedless lemons, Organic seedless lemons, that's a complete contradiction. There's nothing organic about a seedless fruit. Bananas, the seeds when I was a child, the seeds still run through a banana, they don't know more. So just be very, very aware of the food that you're putting into your body. And this is one of the reasons that people are eating mountains of food in this desperate need to get the minerals, nutrients and everything else out of the food. You don't need to eat mountains of the stuff, you just need to eat good stuff. Water, make sure that you're hydrated. All of these things help with your physical immune system. And if your physical is right, your mental is a lot better. So good food, good water, exercise, move your body. And Maureen started us off with a good shake. Can't promote shaking enough, actually. It's one of our primal, animals do it all of the time. It's one of our primal things to really get that energy, negative, stagnant, and I say negative not in a positive and negative as in both are good, but anything that's not aiding you, trauma and things like that, it'll help to release that. So shake. So go outside barefoot and give it a shimmy, shimmy, shake. You got me, put some music on, have a little dance, whatever it is. So you're doing things like that, all to help with the physical. Good food, good nutrition, exercise. Do you exercise barefoot, Kerry? So do you exercise barefoot? So then we get to your mental kind of immunity. I sort of alluded to that in what you're feeding your mind, but also your own mindset. So the stuff coming in that you're not consciously aware of, that my husband loves to put the radio on. I can't stand it because that's like me inviting, I've no idea what's coming through that, no idea at all. And I think in 2020, that became so kind of very much highlighted. Every 15 minutes, oh God, there's a deadly virus out there. Oh gosh, there's a deadly virus out there. The programming received through things in the background. You've got the radio on, you've got the telly on, you've got stuff on. So that is very important. Be aware of what you've actually got coming in. But I'm going to refer, so I'm kind of zipping all over the place here. So I might need to just ground and center myself. But in terms of your mindset, you are absolutely, and I think Maureen will probably allude to this and kind of go deep with this, you are absolutely, you control your mindset. You are the creator of your reality. And one of the best ways to know that is, there's a lovely meme, whatever they're blinking called. And the people are on a bus going down the side of a mountain, and one person sits at the window and looks at the rocks all of the time. The other person sits on the other side and looks at the lovely valley and the views. That's literally change your physical position. You change your perception, you change your mindset, you change the way that you look at the world. And when you change the way you look at the world changes. Trust me, it's true, it's real. You can either see, what was it? I think it's Bob Marley says some people go and get wet, some people go and get and are annoyed and get wet in the rain. Other people drink in the water and the beautiful energy that's coming in. He didn't say that, but that's the vibration. So it's about your mindset. It's about how you wish to perceive things, how you wish to receive things. There's always a different way to look at something when we're not in our best. Okay, so when we're in those down places, and we've all been there, we've all been on the floor crying, snotty nose crying, don't want to live, life's just shit. And there's a word that might have to be edited out, but it is, life is just pants. On that note, some really good stuff grows from the best manure, and that's another word for shit. But when we're down there and it's horrible, if we can have a moment, a glimmer of, within our depths, for me, the depths are, oh my gosh, I need to release this. If I can have that kind of mindset, if I can have a moment where I can see this as a kind of releasing, as a kind of, okay, this is where I am, if I can accept it, and not necessarily, it's not that I want to enjoy it, but if I can, because when I'm up and I'm in the height of it, I'm giving it loads and I'm reveling in it. So if I can revel in when I'm down as well, almost, it's a different vibration, obviously, and it's not great. But if I can start to go, all is temporary. This is only for a time. It's not great right now. But I'm only here for a few, for a short amount of time. And this is where I am. What is it that I can learn from this? And this doesn't happen. I'm not saying that this is automatically going to transform you and you're going to go, oh yeah, oh yes, and I'm all right. Because that's, this whole fast food, fast internet, everything's got to be fast. We're not fast. We're not, that's just nonsense. When we're younger, we're faster. We're definitely faster, and we've got so much more to take in, and we've got so much more to learn. But we're not. We're not. This whole idea of everything happening quickly. So when you're down and you're in that mire, and I do equate it to that kind of mire, and you're feeling that that's a part of your immunity being down as well. Your immunity is not in its optimum state. But don't enjoy it. But learn to accept it, learn to offer it gratitude, because it has something to teach you. It has something to offer. And it might be that the offering is that you are able to share that with others and show them how they can move through this, how they can live in that place, because in that place, you don't want to live usually. In that place, you want it over. In that place is when you are at your most vulnerable, when your mental immunity is at its lowest. But if you can kind of learn, and this is a practice, this is why I love mindfulness, because it makes me mindfully aware in the moment that all is temporary, this too shall pass, and that you can move out of that and rebuild that that resilience, so you're more fortified. And those bouts, and a lot of people go, everything I'm doing is not working, because they still find themselves on the floor, they still find themselves that low. So not true. Check out how much quicker you might be starting to pass through these phases, how your mindset is on these phases. So, but it is about your mindset. And if you can, and you start your practices, you can start them when you're low, but it's good to start your practices when you're actually in a good place, because that's one of the things that we tend to let oh, I'm all right now, so I don't need this anymore. I don't need to do that anymore, so I'm not, because I'm okay. But your immunity, your immune system, your physical, mental, spiritual immune system is about being in the best place all of the time, and and fortifying. So when you're good, start those practices that will help you maintain your sense of goodness. And I don't mean good as in, oh, I'm benevolent and all of that. I'm on about your sense of goodness in yourself. On a spiritual level, there's a I can't remember which, I think it's in Ephesians, and it talks about putting on the armor of God. And that's in the Bible. Now, I use the Bible for a lot of what I say, because that's my foundation. But there is that put on the armor, put on truth, put on being your authentic self. Absolutely helps your immune system on every level. Be your authentic self, speak your truth, I would say put on your armor of God, but that's remember, I believe you're divine. I believe God dwells within you. So put that on, truth, love, forgiveness, compassion, put it on, and so that you stand in your truth, your authenticity at all times, or as much as you can, because we do get compromised on all levels. And that will help you. That helps you on a spiritual, physical, and mental level. If you can be you constantly, I'm always going to guide you to you. I'm always going to get you to be the best you can be, however that looks. Don't, if you find yourself comparing yourself to others, your immune system is low, because you're not anybody else. Everybody else is taken. Be you. Why would you want to be anybody else? There's nobody else out there like you. So you be you. Be you, be your authentic self. And if somebody, don't let people should on you. You don't should on yourself. Be kind to yourself. When you start that voice, I have voices in my head. Yes, I could be classified as having a mental illness. That's fine. I'm all right with it. So I have voices in my head, and sometimes those voices are telling me I'm manure. I remember to say a better word. Sometimes those voices are telling me I'm not good enough, I'm not this, who do I think I am? Blah, 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 blah. There's just this blah, this spewing forth of lower immune vibrations, you know, that I need to just, now I have a different kind of relationship with them. Oh, hello, you're back. What is it about this that I need to release? What further releasing do I need to do in order to be back to me? I think I might have, I've no idea what I've actually said to you, apart from be you, be your most beautiful, authentic self, speak your truth, stand in your truth. If you're feeling like manure one day, I'm loving that I'm using that word more often, then be manure. Know that beautiful roses grow. You want to see my broccoli when I put down good cow manure? Honestly, it's massive. It feeds. So don't be so hard on yourself. Be kind to yourself. Know that everything, this too will pass. Put on or do what you need to do in order. My little boy's just arrived. Come on, Nana, you. This is part of my immune building system. Come to Nana. Come to Nana. Hello. Bye.
Well, as always, that was a total stream of consciousness from Helen. That was brilliant. Thank you.
Yes.
And
So
hello, Benjamin.
Part of my immune building system.
Absolutely.
Have some fun. Be
Yes.
you. And I will stop now. So yes, be well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So we'll go straight from there into some Qigong with Robyn. So again, a little bit of talking, a little bit of movement. It's a nice balance.
Morning, everybody. So you can either stand up or stay seated. These practices. Very gentle. So if you've got any health issues, challenges, then just take that into consideration. With standing posture, ideally the feet facing forwards and parallel shoulders. If your feet do go out to the sides, make sure your knees go in the same direction as your toes. So feeling your feet on the ground, feeling that connection to the earth, which is very important, as Helen has just said. And as she mentioned the shakeout, we may as well do the shakeout. And I think it's one of Maureen's favourites as well. Okay, so let's just start with the fingers and the hands and shaking out through the wrists. And this can help to relieve tension. And the more that we can relieve tension, stagnation, because Qigong is to promote the healthy flow of qi, blood, fluids through the body. And the more that we've got that flow, the better everything works. So it helps to support the immune system, helps to release or reduce inflammation, strengthen the kidneys, the respiratory system, and to create that balance and harmony in the mind and the body. So shaking out, you can do little bounces with the knees if that feels okay for you. And breathe. Breathing is so important as well, of course. But conscious breathing, deep breathing can help to support the immune system as well. And again, reduce stress levels, cortisol, reduce inflammation, and just help to relax the mind and the body as well. So just shaking out there. Shaking up through the centre line of the body, above the head. Let's clear all that clutter from around the head, information that we've taken in, frequencies, as Helen mentioned. That could be somebody just saying something to you that's triggered you, watching the news, listening to things. Let's just clear all that mind clutter away. And then just shaking to the left, back to the centre, to the right, and around the body. Let's clear up our energy field, the way qi, which is our defensive qi, protective qi. It's just like we're decluttering, like we would do in the house. When you declutter, you feel so much better. The better you feel, the better it is. And then just shaking a leg. shake a leg. If you need to hold on for balance, just have a chair nearby and shake a leg. We want to get them meridians and streams running through the body, nice and flowing, releasing stagnation. And then going on to the other side. So shake that leg, shake it out, opening up the channels. Then let's just do a shimmy. A shimmy and a shake, hippy hippy shake. Happy dog wagging its tail. Loosening up through the spine as well. Just letting the head move on top of the spine again, if that's comfortable for you. If anything feels painful or uncomfortable, just back off a little bit, slow it down. Then just come back to centre. Feel your feet on the ground again, coming back to stillness, and just placing your right hand on your heart area, left hand on your lower abdomen. We've got the lower dantian, which is underneath the navel, between the navel and the spine, the min-men at the back. And that helps, when we focus on that area, we help to build up the foundations, build up the kidney chi. So you're fueling the fire. The middle dantian, that helps to release congestion, strengthen the heart, lungs, release any stagnation, any heaviness around there. So let's just connect the two together. Just breathe in and out and just notice where your breath is. Can you get the breath lower down? If not, if it's higher up, just give yourself a little massage just to help release any tension there. This also helps us to reconnect to ourselves, to our heart centre. So just do a couple of breaths there, just to come back to that stillness after activity. Rooting down into the earth, building up your foundations, building up your stability, your strength, courage as well, feeling that sense of courage and stamina. And the more we can build up on that, the better we feel. And then let's rub the hands together. Let's create some chi to the hands, warming up. Then we're just going to do a few flowing exercises, just to, like I mentioned, to create that flow through the body. Just letting the arms go down to the sides of the body, palms facing towards the back of the room. And we're going to do some movements from Shibashi, Tai Chi Qigong Shibashi, which helps to create harmony and opens up channels, improves flexibility, helps support the immune system. It's a good overall practice, very gentle. So we're just going to focus on the breathing, first of all, gentle in-breath through the nose and a gentle out-breath through the mouth, like you're just blowing a candle, nice and gently, just harmonising breath, letting the mind have a rest for a while, just focusing body, the breath, going within. Just making sure you feel comfortable posture, whether you're seated or standing. It's like you're just perching on a stool, just back, tucking your chin back. And of course, just doing the best with what you've got, what your body can do right now. The main thing is that you're comfortable. And then we're just going to start synchronizing the breath and lifting the arms. So lifting on the in-breath, up to shoulder height, breathe out, as you go down. So regulating the breath with the movement, bending the knees as you come down, if that's comfortable. I'll just show you from this side. Breathe in gently through the nose as you come up, fingers point up to the sky. Breathe out gently through the mouth. So it's just like a fountain, rising up and down, creating that flow, that fluidity in the body. Just gazing forward. Imagine you're gazing out onto the horizon. You're in your favourite place, which can help to relax the mind and the body as well. So if your mind wanders off, just bring yourself back to the image or the breath or the movement, the sensations inside your body. And then we'll just do one more of these just to get that chi flowing about the meridians, balancing and calming. And then we're just going to step forward with the left foot. The right foot needs to be on a like 45-degree angle so you don't lose your balance. You don't want that foot directly behind the left one. A bit like a bow and arrow stance. And what we're going to do, we're just going to gently rock back and forth. Put the weight onto the left foot as you go forwards. Put the weight onto the back foot, the right foot as you go back. We want to create a rhythmic flow with the breath. You breathe in as you come back. You breathe out as you go forward. We're also stimulating the kidney 1 points on the balls of the feet. So when you go forward, we're going to start to bring the arms in now. Pushing forwards, lifting the right heel. Bring the arms back, lifting the left toes. So we're stimulating the kidney points, the bubbling spring on the balls of the feet, which helps to bring and stimulate that kidney chi. Balancing, replenishing kidney energy, because we need to really build up on the kidney chi, especially at this time of year. Kidneys are related to the winter. And then we need to just, if we can, as much as we can, not always easy, go with the flow. The more that we can go with the flow, bring that flow into the mind and the body, the better everything seems to be. So the more that we can flow our energy, get the energy flowing through the body, the more grounded we feel, building up your stability, your strength, your stamina. The more we can help support ourselves, build up our well-being, and just creating that balance with life as much as we can. In other words, looking after ourselves. And then this time we push forwards. Because we want the palms to face each other and open the fingers slightly. And then we're going to come back. So we're still doing the forwards and back, but we're just going to open our arms. Going forwards, bringing the hands towards each other. We're not crossing over. The fingertips almost touch, and then we come back. So we've still got that nice flowing rhythmic movement with the legs. Very good for physical and emotional balance as well, mental balance. But what we're doing here, strengthening the heart and the lungs as well. Opening the channels for the lungs, the heart. And it's like we're giving our heart and lungs a gentle massage with the flowing and expansive movements. breathe in as we come back. Breathe out as we go forwards. Dropping the shoulders down. If you feel that like the shoulders are coming up, just drop them down. Imagine your shoulder blades going down the back of the body, tucking into your trousers. Because if the shoulders come up, we create the tension. So we want the shoulders to drop down. And just enjoy that openness, the expansiveness. One of the names for this is Dove Spreads Its Wing. So imagine we're all wings, we're all doves, spreading our wings of peace, just spreading that peace all around us, that heart energy, strengthening the heart, opening up the airways so we can breathe, we can release stagnation through the lungs, look after our respiratory system. Very important. But for asthma sufferers, bronchitis, coughs, colds, anything like that, strengthening the lungs. Just do one more. Breathe out as you go forwards, breathe in as you come back, and then just make a gentle fist, like you've got a tiny butterfly in each palm of the hand, very gentle fist. Bring the elbows back into the sides of the body, so it's like you're bringing that energy back into the lower dantian to support that reservoir of qi. And then with the left arm, we just turn the arm, then punch, turn and bring it back. Nice and gently, making sure your knees are soft. If you want to do a deeper stance for this one, what we call a horse stance, you can, it's like you're sitting on a horse, your back straight as possible, opening up through the lumbar region. And this really helps to nourish and strengthen the kidney qi, the lower dantian, bringing in that plenishing, nourishing energy. We breathe out as we move forwards, we turn, so the forearm is faced up towards the sky, bringing it back, and the opposite arm, turn and punch, turn and bring it back. Breathe out, punching forwards, breathe in, pulling it back. So imagine the energy going through the channels as you're punching forwards, and it's spiraling round in the palm of the hand, the fist, and then it just builds up that qi, that nourishing qi, and we're bringing it back into the body. So we'll just do one more. Breathe out, breathe in, and then we're just going to gather the qi from the earth, bring it up through the center line of the body, turn the palms and release down. This time we gather the qi, we come up all the way through the front of the body, up to the sky, and then down the back of the body. So we're getting that qi through the governing vessel, the conception vessel, the front and the back of the body, gathering from the earth qi, connecting to the qi, heavens, the yang, bringing balance, harmony. And this reminds me of what Helen said about the armour of God. So imagine that we're bringing a big protective shield around the body. I like to imagine a bright golden light of energy coming up, protecting the front, gathering the energy from above, coming down the back of the body, around the shoulders, back down the front. So we've got this lovely protective golden light, this protective qi around the body. And I do this, and I remember, before I go out shopping, if I know I'm going out in a crowd, anywhere, shopping, things like that, I'll just do something like this. There's other things that you can do as well to just help to strengthen your Wei Qi, your energy field. And it's amazing the difference it makes, because it can be draining as well when you go out into crowds, because you're picking up energy, frequencies, like Helen mentioned. And this is just one way that you can help to protect your energy field, your Wei Qi. Just do one more, gathering from the earth, breathing in as you come up, connecting to that heavenly Qi. Breathe out, bringing it down the back of the body and down the foot, pushing down towards the lower dantian. Let's just cross over now. One palm on top of the other, just underneath the navel. Let's just finish off with a nice gentle massage around the tummy, up on the right, cross and down on the left, in the direction of digestion. The digestive system is another one that we need to keep balanced and look after to support the immune system as well. What we ingest and what we digest. Just breathing in as you come up and across, breathe out as you go down. And then just resting, posture. Nurturing your Qi, nourishing your own energy, and filling up that reservoir again. We can fill up the reservoir of Qi as many times throughout the day. Just focus on the breath, the lower dantian, warming it through. And then just feel your feet on the ground again. Send your roots down into the earth. Connect up to the sky. Bring your feet together. Bring your palms to your heart center and just acknowledge yourself for turning up today, taking responsibility for your own health, well-being. It's a wonderful thing to do. Give yourselves a bow. Thank you.
So much, Robyn. Thank you. That was wonderful, as always. And I would really encourage people to do some Qigong every morning, even if it's only the little bits of arm swinging or just feeling your feet. It's marvelous, marvelous. Okay, I think Maureen is next.
Good morning again. Thank you so much, Robyn. I yawned lots and I'm feeling so much fresher. So thank you so much for that. It was lovely. So, immune system. I want you to ask yourself this question. When did you start focusing on looking after your immune system? How old were you? And why? And often people come to look after their immune system when it's under attack or fear that it's going to be under attack. And so it's only in recent years, really, for me, that I've actually come to connect with the immune system. Luckily, a lot of my life practices have been fairly healthy, but it's only recently I've actually got to know about the immune system and how important it is. And as we said before, everything's connected. So let's go with my little idea of it being a factory. Now, before I go on, Helen mentioned earlier, can I share a screen? If I press the right buttons, I might have a chance. Helen mentioned earlier, and Helen's now wondering, what did I say? What did I say? What did I say? A wee little picture, and it touched my heart because it is one that I shared in a previous talk. And so it's like, oh my gosh, so this is it. So we've got a choice on our outlook. We can choose, we can be on the same path, but dependent on where we're looking, can create. So with our immune system, do we want to be focused on it every single day? Do we have time to? maybe we do, maybe we don't. Ideally, we should find time to. So there's that picture, Helen. Hope you like it. Okay, so our immune system, what are we all about? Now, another little from a previous talk of mine, looking at the pillars of life. Let's look at, okay, our pillars of life. We want to keep our immune system in its best place, and we'll look at that a little bit. I'm talking in simple terms, you guys talk in a lot more detail, but we want to look at, okay, how are we doing? How are we doing with our sleep? If we're not getting great sleep, that can have the impact on the whole system, the mind, the body, the organs, the digestive system, our hunger, everything. Our exercise, are we moving enough? And sometimes we can actually be stuck, especially if we work with computers. We can be physically immobile for a long time, which isn't really good for the body. When the body needs to be immobile, that's in our sleep. But even in our sleep, we move around. So we want to be doing some movement. And of course, if we can get scheduled exercise routines, whether it's dancing, weight training, cycling, whatever it might be, that's ideal. But if not, moving, just as we've seen today with Robyn, just some, just part of those routines. In our nutrition, how are we doing nutrition wise? I'm proud to say that my nutrition is miles better than it used to be. Now I know what I know. Looking back, my nutrition was appalling. What was I doing to my body? And we'll look at that in a minute. And then we've also got emotion. Emotion, all of those things connect with each other and drive our whole system. So I want you to think about ourselves as a factory. Okay. Now, last week, to try and find out the problem with a shoulder, neck, back thing that I was suffering from, osteopath couldn't really find anything wrong. You just clicked and put things back ever so slightly, but there was nothing major, but it kept reoccurring. And so I was thinking, right, okay, always looking for a solution. Now, if you're always looking for a solution, guess what you might find? A solution. And so we've got those two paths, solution path and the path of doom. And if we're on the path of doom, we're probably not going to help ourselves as much as we can. So we want to be looking for solutions. So I thought, right, okay, what is this all about? Thinking about my spine. And I just thought, I'm going to look at my posture. So I looked at my posture in a reflection, and my posture had become slumped over time. Now, I used to be a little girl, a little Irish dancer, and my shoulders were up and back. So my spine naturally used to be more upright. So just try now. So just imagine you've got, just check your posture now. Where is it? And just imagine you've got a string going through the core of your skull, and just imagine it pulling up. So it just lifts the skeleton, and in that lifting, it will gently, comfortably lift the shoulders, the rib cage, and it might even feel a strain. So in the last week, I've been practicing this as much as possible because I want it to go back to being my norm. Now, having a body connection, curling over, can actually have an effect with our brain and our emotional system. So imagine if you're curling over. So if even just think about it now, just curl over. What does it do for you? Maybe protective, squeezes all our organs together as well. So if you imagine all your bits and bobs inside, when we're curling over, are we putting some pressure on them? And we want to have our whole system working as effectively as possible. So imagine that it's a factory, and so like we're curling over, and there is some machinery in the factory that is now being pressured. It might have a difficulty fully performing. So something as simple as just bringing and imagining that lift through. I was taught it in ballet at school. Imagine you've got this cord and they were like pulling it up. So they used to go around to us and pull it up. So even just something as simple as that might help the body get into the position where it can operate its best and maybe even flourish. So we want to be recognizing, okay, What am I going to do for my immune system? Often people only go to the immune system when they're scared or when they feel they're coming down with something. But shouldn't we be looking after it all the time and recognizing as human beings, we do get into bad habits and it's not always our fault. We're subliminally influenced. We can get into bad habits really easy. So just have a think about, you're all wise because you're here. Think about your daily living. What habits might you have that would be good if you didn't have them or you weren't performing them? Because we are performing our habits. What would be good? So this whole factory, let's look at it. We want to think about the factory. The people in the factory are the cells. So without the cells, it's not going to work. So we need all of those cells to be working. But if there's some of them that are a little bit slow, so imagine it's in the packing department and they're throwing boxes to get to a destination within the body. If there's a team that are underperforming, it's going to be a challenge. And some of those boxes might even get broken. So we want to have all the cells working efficiently. And we're going to look at a tiny little story that changed my life from a wonderful guy called Simon Townsend. So the people are our cells. The machines, imagine the machines in the factory are the organs of our body. And we want them running efficiently. So if you imagine a particular machine, you want it moving properly, you want it well oiled. And that means with oil, not in kind of like the phrase that some people might understand as being well oiled. So we want it to be beautifully working, not too much oil, not too little. We want it working beautifully. And then we've got the deliveries to feed the cells, the people, to feed the production line. We've got the deliveries coming in. That's our eating and our digestive system. And then we've got export, when we're sending stuff out. And export are the products, and export is the waste. So what we want to be looking at is making sure this whole factory works. So what's important? All of these things. So if you imagine on the delivery side, our digestion, our eating, and even our breathing, how fresh is the air that we're breathing? This morning, because I'm fostering some kittens and the mummy cat for a while, I'm allergic to cats. And so this morning, first thing, I had all the doors open whilst the kitties are all locked away in the kitchen, nice and safe. I had all the fresh air blowing through the house to get fresh air in. Now, a lot of people go, oh, at this time of year, it's daft because it's so cold. Well, first thing in the morning, the house is at its coldest. And so it's the best time to get fresh air in, because we want to be making sure that our lungs are not put under pressure, and we want to be feeding it clean air. And so breathing, our eating and our drinking. And this is where the little story that Simon did in a presentation many years ago. He said, and if he's watching, and hopefully you are, Simon, forgive me if I get the words wrong. You need to come on and do this talk because you're far more eloquent, and also your knowledge about everything is amazing. He said, okay, imagine, what do you drink? So think about, what do you drink in a day? So imagine having a washing up bowl for your plates after dinner. So fill the bowl with everything that you drink in a day. So it could be a milkshake, beer, wine, coffee, tea, orange juice, apple juice, pineapple juice, stick it, and water, stick it all in the bowl. Okay, mix it all up. Now your dinner plates are beautiful glass plates. So after dinner, they need to be washed. Now the cells of our bodies need to be cleaned. So imagine they need to be cleaned. Now, if they're being washed in that bowl of water, what are they going to be like? Not very clean. And so this is the importance of water in our body. Now we get addicted to drinking other things, teas, coffees, wines, whatever it might be, orange juices. But when we're drinking them, and the amount that we're drinking, is that actually good for our bodies? It either is or it isn't. And Simon was this talk, and it was like really interesting. And he explained that through the night, the body, the factory, is continuing to work and doing lots of maintenance jobs. And then first thing in the morning, have you ever noticed that the first drink that you have in the morning, oh my gosh, it tastes so good, whatever it is. It's because most of the time we're dehydrated. So whatever we're drinking, the body's going, oh, thank you, it's liquid. And so from that day, I decided to drink water, to clean my plates, to have that fresh start. So for years, the first drink of the day has been water. Now, years ago, I don't know how it happened, but I came to believe that water was boring, was for weirdos, especially hot water. So anybody out there drinking hot water? I used to think it was weirdos. Now I'm a weirdo and proud. And I absolutely love drinking water. And I love drinking hot water. I used to think the best pairing in the world was cold milk and chocolate. That was the dream state. If I'm having chocolate, hot milk, hot water tastes absolutely wonderful. And the hot water can actually allow me to enhance the taste and experience of the chocolate. Although I'm dumbing down having the chocolate because that's technically what my body doesn't need, but it is a treat, and a treat every now and again is okay. So we want to be looking after it. So something as simple as ensuring that we have water, pure water. Because I say, well, there's water in my tea, there's water in my coffee, I get plenty of it. It's a very different mix. Washing those plates in the white water, letting that white water rush through the plates versus my coffee that has got all whatever it's got in. So we want to be aware of what we're putting into the body, and we have to, in this day and age, we have to become wiser in terms of what we're eating, how we're eating, if it's good. There's an awful lot of people, if people are trying to sell you something like on the media and the adverts, think twice. That's all I'm saying. Think twice and look at what is natural, what works naturally. I had something in the fridge and I totally forgot about it. And there were particular wraps and they'd been in my fridge for a couple of weeks. And I went to them and thought, oh, what can I have? It's like, oh, wraps. And I thought, they've been there a couple of weeks. And I threw them out. Guess why I threw them out? Because they hadn't gone stale. They had showed no signs of being stale. So for something to live, not that there's anything wrong with my fridge, but for something to live that long without going stale, got me thinking, is that real food or is that plastic? And so that didn't connect with me. Why I think, like Helen mentioned, I hadn't even connected to the fact that bananas don't have seeds anymore. How did that one slip away? So we want to become wise and aware. So we want to be controlling what goes in, because what goes in feeds the factory. So then we've got mind and body connection, belief systems. How come some people get ill more than others? That's just not fair. Bad luck. But sometimes our belief system can influence what goes on inside the factory, because everything in the factory takes instructions from us. And if we believe that we're going to, so it's like, oh, I get everything. And I know people have said it many times. Oh, I get anything and everything that's going round. Whereas my belief system might be going round, but I'm not getting it. And comparing the health between a particular person that is a friend of mine, if we compare the health, I'm 100% healthy. They're often challenged, but also accepting. Whereas if I think that there's a threat out there, I will, and it's interesting, I will go on my defense. So being on defense has got nothing to do with war, Helen. It's about protection. So I'm not about fighting. What I'm about is fighting off so that things will not come in. And so I will think, okay, that might be happening out there. What can I do to enhance my immune system? And I can do a check. How am I doing with my sleep? How am I doing with my nutrition? How am I doing with my water? How am I doing with the air that I breathe? How am I doing with my emotions? Are there, because emotions, negative emotions, take our energy away. So imagine the whole factory. And instead of the power that goes in, the power is diluted. So the machines can only work at half the power then we're asking for trouble. So our emotions drain that power. So we want to be mindful of being in a good emotional state as much as possible. And if that's on our path, that's what we'll create. And sometimes, life being life, it's not easy. It can be a real challenge to do that. So we want to set an intention. What am I going to do? We have to be now checking the food labels if we want to avoid, apparently, the insects, because they're being put into our foods and laws have been passed to allow them to do that. So we've now all got to get magnifying glasses when we go shopping, because all the small print will be in -10 font, so that it's only for the insects that can read, and the insects will read that and go, hee, 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 hee. They don't know what they're doing. So we've got to become really wise. So we want to say, no, I have a strong mechanism. So if I tell my system I've got a strong immunity, then my whole body might listen to that instruction and be stronger than it used to be. And there's a phrase that is often used in the corporate world, and I'm not going to say the first word, but it rhymes with kiss. I'm going to replace it with the word poor. So it's poor preparation leads to poor performance. So you might have heard it. Okay. Kiss poor preparation leads to kiss poor performance. So the more we can prepare, the more useful. Now, do you all take additional vitamin D? In the UK, we definitely need it in the wintertime, vitamin D. Okay. Now, I know some people will take vitamin D on an empty stomach, wasting your time. I didn't know that, because I've been guilty of it, not knowing. It's like vitamin D, right? First thing in the morning, all of these things I need to remember, right? Get those in. And on an empty stomach, you're wasting your time, because it needs food and it needs fats in foods to actually do what it does, do the job that it does, and help our immune system. So go and look into our vitamin Ds and how we're working with that. And start to focus on, what can I do today? So think about one thing that you can do today to improve your immunity. Just one thing. If you can do 10 and you can fit 10 in, fantastic. And just before I go, Helen comes out with absolute gems, and she just brings them from nowhere. And her gems I can think of to use in a different way. And she actually said, now bear in mind, I'm classified also, not only as a therapist, but also as a relationship expert and a love guru, working with love and singles and dating and whatever. So something that Helen said would be a fantastic one-liner for a date, or anywhere really. Okay. You want to see my broccoli. Now, if you were going dating and you wanted to find somebody that was interested in keeping themselves healthy and doing what's best for them, that could filter out the crowd. It's like, you want to come and see my broccoli? And someone will go, what are you talking about? I don't eat broccoli. And it's next. So I think that's a really great chat up line. So thank you for that, Helen. So think about what you're going to do. One thing that you're going to do it today. Now, of course, in the factory, we've got the stuff coming in, and we also want to be mindful of the toxins that's going out, both through our digestive system and also through the skin. Learn what the body's telling us, learn what that output is telling us. You know, even for example, I know, for example, if I'm exercising and I sweat and I might lick, and it's like, oh, and it's like, actually, there's no salt in that. It might be a clue that I need to be looking at having more salt in my diet. So let's become really clever. It feels like hard work, but it isn't when it's not. So let's enjoy. And the useful song to sing is that every little cell in our body is happy. That lovely lady, Alison from New Zealand, that educated the young children with it. It's a wonderful song to sing for so many occasions. If you need an emotional distraction, because you might be feeling up, confused, tearful, whatever, you can just have your eyes looking up and just sing, every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. I'm so glad every little cell in my body is happy and well. I'm so glad every little cell in my body is happy and well. Even just singing that It's a clever, clever song. It's sending instructions of being well. The noise of it, because it's music, the vibration will be doing something positive as well. And if we move around with it, we're physically moving. So all of that simple song can be helping our immune system in the most beautiful way. So there you go. That's me for today. So one thing, do at least one thing today to look after your immune system. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Maureen. I do love that song. We sing it a lot in Touch for Health. We do cross crawl to it. So, but I'm not going to talk about cross crawl today. I'm going to talk about Chinese medicine and the defensive system and moxibustion. So, Papa had to leave, but he has got a little story he sent me that he wanted to tell everybody about immune systems and working with his own family. Quite an amazing story. So if we've got, I mean, we're going to go till nearly 9 o'clock. I'm sorry about this, guys, but moxa. This is my little moxa holder. It's got a little stick in it of smokeless moxa, which is horrible and burnt and messy. And you take the top off at the bottom, this orange thing off, and you light it from inside. And you can get this and the instructions from 2 websites, which I've got on this little sheet I want to share here. So I'll just do that now. It explains moxa is made of mugwort, and thankfully it grows like a weed all around the world. And oh no, that's not the right one. Sorry, I've got another one. That's about my moxa holder, but this is what moxa is useful for. This is the one. Hang on a second. It's and when we're talking about the immune system, we're talking about the whole system. Like we said, all the way through this, we're talking about looking after our whole system, because a cold appears in somebody and then the person next to them doesn't get it. Person on the other side might develop a cold as well. And what is becoming increasingly obvious is that we pass energy between people. We do not pass germs. Germs are always in us. Viruses are always around, and they don't cause the illness. They are just there as part of the cleansing process, part of the washing the dishes. And so we need things that will clear us out well. We need the ability to do good clearing. We need a cold once or twice a year to clear things out. So getting sick on that level is not a problem, and it's not a disaster as long as we manage it okay. But we can also prevent ourselves from having excessive amounts of clearings, and that would be by reducing the toxins that are going in and all that kind of thing, and staying out of drafts. The Chinese and our ancestors all knew this. You sit in a draft, you get a chill, and then your body has to get that cold wind out. And that's what we talk about in Chinese medicine as invading pathogens. It's not germs, and it's not bacteria, and it's not viruses. It's wind and cold that is the enemy, really, because it slows things down. And so our body has to work to heat itself up to chase things out. So this is where moxa comes in, because it's very warming and very supportive. So it's good for all sorts of pain conditions. But I'm going to zip down, and you can take a screenshot of this and you can keep it because it will be on the video as well. It's good for turning breech babies, which we're not here to discuss. It can reduce scars, and it supports the immune system for cold and flu treatment and prevention. And what you do with it for that purpose, I'm just going to stand up and show you. You light it, get it nice and warm, and you go down the leg. Now, those of you who've seen my videos before, there's a meridian down there, the stomach meridian, that is very important for stroking and rubbing. Did you hear me? I walked away from the microphone. Sorry, I haven't got my extra microphone with me. It's a very important meridian for supporting the digestion and moving the energy in the whole body. So it's an excellent channel to do. So you would do that down both the legs, very gently warming those points. And there is a company called Mox Africa. They're on the bottom of this sheet. They're just currently doing a trial to see how effective Moxa is for helping the immune system. So soon we'll have some data. You may wonder that how it helps the lungs, because it says it opens the bronchial airways. You don't want to be breathing it. This is why we use smokeless Moxa now. But if you use the Moxa in between the shoulder blades on people who have got breathing difficulties and asthma and so on, then it's really helpful for that, because it warms and it opens the pores and it allows the lungs to clear stuff that's been accumulating. So I think that's all I want to say about that. And if anybody wants any more information about that, I'm happy to talk about. Now, Foppe gave me some notes. As a lifelong sportsman, he was listening to his body his whole life from 14 years old. And that was his very first awareness of the immune system. Then in the 90s, his wife was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, systemic lupus erythema, I can never say it, lupus. It took 2.5 years to get the diagnosis, and he started as a professional researcher to bring together everything that was known and not known about the immune system. So he really did his research as a personal thing for his own family. So he's quite knowledgeable now about this in general. The doctors, when they had the diagnosis, gave his wife 3 more years to live. But because of his information and awareness, he helped her to live 11 more years. And he agrees with all of the information that everybody's put out so far. But it also came out during his research that self-manifestation and stress and Chinese and Tao healing made an important difference. Love energy also is very important. And I think that's something that I've been working with a lot lately, and just feeling in every cell of your body, feeling that light and that love, because that will feed into your Wei Qi, as Robyn mentioned, on the outside. And you do have this extra protection around you to keep the wind cold and other people's disturbed energy around this. Stresses, we do share stresses, but we also, it's more, love is more contagious than anything. So that is the thing to remember. And if you look at Veda Austin's videos, well, there's talks by her, but there's also photographs of eggs. I'll leave you this with this because we love eggs. Maureen does a brilliant thing on eggs. But she has eggs from happy chickens and eggs from not very happy chickens who are in battery cages. And she takes the picture of their inner contents in the freezer, and lo and behold, the happy chickens have got beautiful patterns. The not happy ones, pretty rubbish. But when she put the happy eggs, obviously you can't put them back together. These were new happy eggs together with new unhappy eggs. When she photographed those, the happy eggs had raised the vibration of the unhappy eggs, and they formed a better picture in the freezer. So that's how we can go out and infect everybody else with love and happiness. And oh, he has more, sorry. He makes your yes, love helps your energy free to connect with the mind, body, spirit balance, and reactivating the feminine masculine balance is a very important thing at this time. So he says, I stop here now. I have to go. Sorry. Wishing you all love, trust, and wisdom. So I think that's a good note to end on. What do you reckon?
Can I just say something? It's a fabulous note to end on, but something people can do in terms of sharing the love. I think I've mentioned this before. When you're out and about, looking at people and just in your own mind, I wish you joy, I wish you peace, I wish you love. And you love it because it raises your vibration, but you're actually like the eggs. You're sharing that in a very intentional way too, not just because you're happy.
Yes.
Love you.
Yeah.
Love you.
Yeah. I
you.
think that's absolutely right. And what was really interesting, as I was going on the train last Friday to my course, I was just feeling so full of, and all these people were smiling at me. And I have not been on a train where people have smiled like that for a very long time. Usually people are sitting there going,
it's because you got your love vibration on, June,
well,
and you were just loving it, loving it, loving it. Yeah.
and I think they might have had some too of their own. I think it was just a general feeling of like, ooh, I'm happy now. I don't know why, but I'm feeling happy. And external circumstances don't need to necessarily change. You can create happiness inside you, whatever the situation. So we're going through tough times, but we can still be happy and be full of love. So I suppose I better stop recording. Shall we say bye to everybody and see you next week?
Bye. Recording.
Bye.
Stop.